Hey, so I haven't made a video in quite a while, and the reason that is because it's been snowing so hard, and it's also been cold, and there really isn't anything interesting going on around here right now. Everything's kind of on hold. I don't have any big building projects, but it snowed a lot. There's 4 feet here, or almost more than that's about 4 feet right there. See how tall that is. And well, I'm actually thinking of going to look at a snowmobile. It's a Skidoo Summit. I had said before the only snowmobile I wanted to buy was that 200cc Tundra. This snowmobile that I'm looking at, it's meant for deep snow. It's light. And actually, I went on that snowmobile party with their neighbors. They live over there. They went to their uncle's. The neighbor went to his uncle's place with me and a bunch of other people. And it was a youth group type of thing. I'm not religious. They are. So they just were neighbors, so they just invited me to go along. But he is the youth group leader, the guy that lives over there. Well, there's more people that live there, but yeah. And I went on that trip. That was a really fun trip. And then a while later, him and his friends, this was not a youth group setup. This was just him and his friends invited me. They were asking to come to our place, so they invited me too. And we went up there. We went on these series of roads into the bush, and that was fun too. And yeah, that's kind of been happening. That's also the reason I haven't filmed a video. But anyway, on the night of that snowmobile party with the youth group, the first time, he let me ride a snowmobile in our field. And when I rode that one, he has a Skidoo 800. What's it called? This is a Skidoo 800 Summit. It's like a 2009 or something. And I rode that one, and I knew I had to have one. I love that snowmobile. He let me ride it, just not even that much. And I found that no matter what you did to it, you could not get it stuck. Like, you could be trying to get it stuck, and the thing is just, I couldn't believe how easy it was to ride. Where the bearcat, it's so wide, it's hard to, it's like basically the same thing as this truck. Bald tires, only for the road. You can't do any off-roading with this. It's the same thing with this. Doesn't have a lot of clearance. You see, these footboards are too wide. It can't dig into the snow. It's 570 bearcat. These aren't that common. These are more the highway trucks. They're like pickup trucks, just like that thing. So, and actually, the reason I'm making this video is my mom needs to get grain to the chicken house. It's barley grain. We grow barley here sometimes, and down in that barn. So we're gonna see if we can get the bearcat out of here, and we're gonna use it to deliver some grain. Normally she does it with a sled, but now the snow is like 3-4 feet deep. So, well, hopefully that thing will float. If not, then we'll just pull it out with the tractor, I guess. Okay, so this snow I'm standing on, it's like, this is basically the ground here. There'd be a bit of packed down snow. And so this tripod, up to here, that's about 4 feet of snow. So that's like this tall. But my plan is to just, if I lean that way, it should come out that way. So let's try to drive it out that way. So when this thing is on relatively flat ground, there's not a lot of snow in the track, I can lift it, without much of a problem. But when you get snow in the track, and when it kind of sinks down, it's actually really difficult to lift. A lot of snow right there. Also, another reason the snow is so high that it blew too, because there was a lot of wind a little while ago. actually editing this right now, and I'm looking at how much snow that thing actually pushed when it drove out of there. And then in this clip, you can see this snowmobile is like almost on the verge of getting stuck where the track really digs in. And this is why you'd want a powder snowmobile, because they're designed to dig in the way this bearcat did. And that bearcat isn't designed to like really dig in like that. So here's a replay on that. So you can see that I tried to move it over a bit, and then when I drive it forward, the footboards are almost bogging down in the snow, and it just kind of hardly got out of there. This is quite a bit of snow. I mean, that snow falls off the roof, but yeah, so this is the barn we keep all of our grain. Now this barn is slowly falling down. Like, that's my cousin's motorcycle there. So, yeah. Like, there was a loft in here. This here is the loft. That's only like 4 feet off the ground. And this loft was way up there because the whole building sunk over years. So, yeah. I mean, you can still get the tractor in, and it's still a good place to store grain. So we still use it, but it won't be here forever. Now let's see if we can get the snowmobile trail going up here. I'll drive around here a bit, see if I can get a trail in here. What the dog doing? Look at that dog there. Look at me, just swimming in the snow. He's like a Skidoo Tundra 200cc. Those are really small snowmobiles, but they're good at kind of floating on the snow. That's what he reminds me of. Look at him, he's just swimming in the snow. He's like jumping around. He's like barely moving around. The good thing he stays out of the way of the front of the snowmobile. He's getting better. We're training him over time. That's a puppy. They fit in here. I don't think we need a rope.
Okay. You say so. You do have a bungee cord in front of you.
Well, I used to, but I almost could take the others. But
here.
Let's just take two at a time. this trail, this is all powder, and now I can walk on it. You can too, and he has smaller feet. And run on it. Also, the snow underneath was a little bit hard as well. I think that's helping. Here's the chicken house. That building is like 90 years old, maybe even 100. Some of the first buildings built here. And yeah, we fixed it all up. Like that door and ladder we put on there about 5 years ago. And also we put the metal roof on it. It had a shingle roof. And I made this, but I did it the wrong way. It doesn't really work. This is supposed to be on that side. This thing's supposed to be over here. Yeah. This is our chicken house. Maybe about 40 chickens in there. I think there's 2 or 3 roosters for giving us, for reproducing, to give us the hens. I mean, every year we have chicks. You know, we don't make money off of them. It's kind of just a automatic thing that happened. And it's usually 50-50 with chicks. So the roosters we butcher. Sometimes we keep 1 or 2 for replacements. Sometimes we buy them. My mom has a hobby of collecting hens. She'll buy a few sometimes, and mainly we hatch our own. And then some of the hens we butcher, the older ones. And mainly the roosters, the younger, and then when they get to the right age for butchering, we butcher them. And we keep 1 or 2 for the alpha males. And the hens, when we start to get too many of them, young or old, we butcher them. But every few weeks we butcher 1 or 2 because we have quite a few. And we don't sell eggs. We have a lot of eggs, and the prices are kind of going weird these days. So I think my mom's going to sell some eggs. No, we've never done that before. Or we'll hire the neighbor to sell some for us, because lots of people sell eggs around here. So, yeah. You like a little Tundra snowmobile. Skidoo Tundra. Skidoo Tundras are small, but they're pretty good at floating on the snow. I feel like a train went through here. So now let's get those other buckets. I think there's 3 or 4 more. Got 4 that time. I guess if you're hauling with a snowmobile, the idea is to make a trail beforehand if you can. And now that the trail's there, it's actually pretty easy. if I get this thing stuck, there is too much snow. I don't think I'll, it would take way longer than I would want to get unstuck. So, I can make a tutorial on that, but I think, so I'll explain what to do. So basically what happens when you get stuck, usually what will happen is the track will dig in. So this thing goes down to the snow, it drops, the track digs into the snow. The snowmobile doesn't move. And then what I carry on here is a jack. I don't know what type you call it, but it has a lever, it's a mechanical jack, not a hydraulic jack. And it lifts up quite a bit. It's like a 3-foot lift. So you either, and if it's a big snowmobile like this one, you can't pick it up to lift the track out of the snow. So sometimes what I have to do is put the jack down. And I put the jack under the rear bumper here. So you don't want to put the jack under the frame or anything. You want to put it on the rear bumper. Most snowmobiles have a bumper like this. This is on the frame. I can see it. There's a part that's bolted on there. So it's bolted to the frame. So what you do is you get your jack and you jack up under here. And there's two things you can do. You can jack it up and then you push the jack while it's up. And the snowmobile will shift over and land. You can do that, or you lift it up and then you get your foot and you just stomp the snow down. So if this, like say we jacked the track up because it was stuck, and then there would be a hole where the track was, and you just stomp and compress snow under it, and then you have snow to drive on, so the track will, what the goal is that the track won't slide on the ground when it's icy. Because when your track goes through the snow all the way to the ground, it's always icy. That's just the nature of it, pretty much. Or your track can't get grip, because this is meant to grip snow. So then you put snow under there and you pack it down with your foot, and then it gives it snow to drive on. So then it might spin the snow out a little bit, but the goal is to put snow under so it drives, and then you shake it back and forth, and then basically so that the footboards here don't sink down, so the track pushes off of that snow you put under there with your foot. And also a shovel is a good thing to have. Most of the time that's all you need is a shovel. You can dig out around the track and then sometimes move it a bit and get it unstuck that way. But in some cases you can't, I'm not strong enough to pick this thing up. So most people don't have, that depends on the snowmobile, but for trail snowmobiles, they don't have very big lugs on the tracks, or paddles or whatever you call them. They have, this one I think has got like 1 inch, so maybe 1.25 inches, not a lot. Now this is a long track. I think this is the longest type of track, or I'm not really sure. It's the 160 something inch track. Not exactly sure, but basically the goal is, if you can't pick it up, then you want to bring a jack with you, one of those tall jacks. I don't know what they're called. I should know what they're called by now, but they're tall. And then sometimes it doesn't work because the snow compresses and you can't jack up the snowmobile. But when you can jack it up, you jack it up, compress snow under the track, and then you put the jack down. And if you're in powder or something and you can't, if you drive out and you don't want to stop again to get the stuff, once the track is on that snow, you put the stuff on, tie it on, and then once you drive, you can drive away and keep going for wherever you're getting to. So that's what I've done, and I actually got stuck on a hill up there really bad, and it took a very long time yesterday to get it out, because it was, I had to jack it and dig it for a long time, and I dug down about 4 feet on that hill. I got it stuck pretty bad yesterday, but yeah, and most of the time with snowmobiles, all you need is a shovel, and then you just dig out underneath the footboards, and sometimes it helps to dig out under the front part in here. So in here, sometimes it helps to dig out that. And that's pretty much how you get a snowmobile unstuck. or a trail snowmobile. In this case, this is a pretty big one. So this is a workhorse, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna buy, I think we're going to look at that Summit 800 tomorrow, so there's a good chance I'll buy that one. I think I like the description on it, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, another thing you can do to help a snowmobile not get stuck is you drive over the place you park it. So if you park it outside, make a trail. So I packed down a whole bunch in here, and it made a difference. Because now it has some packed down snow to lift off of. And I flattened it out a lot here. Like it was, I mean, you saw how it was in the beginning. So I flattened it out a lot. And that should help it so it doesn't get stuck. And it's on a slight downhill where it is, so when it goes, it'll go down a little bit and then out that way. And that cover's frozen in there, I can't get it out. A bunch of ice in there, so yeah. But this snowmobile, the farm bought it. It's in not that bad a shape actually. It was in pretty good condition. It was a pretty good deal for a trail snowmobile. I think it was $4,000. And I don't think it had that many miles on it. So, yeah. Didn't have that many miles on it. And, everything was, it's a 2010. So, I think that was a pretty good buy for, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have bought a powder snowmobile. But this is good for utility purposes. Even then, it gets stuck when you don't want it to, so. Trail snowmobiles, I don't really recommend. If you're gonna get a snowmobile that's more of a hobby machine, always go for the powder snowmobiles, if you can afford them. Actually, there are some pretty cheap powder snowmobiles as well. Just wanna make sure you're not buying a piece of junk. Well, I guess that'll kind of wrap up this video on delivering grain. So this is a reminder to all my viewers that I make all my music recordings on GarageBand. It's an app that has a bunch of different instruments. And it's not the best, but it seems to work pretty good.